You ever wake up thinking it's going to be a quiet day and instead you end up living through your worst nightmare where the HOA president and her two meathead sons ambush you on your own damn lakefront, call 911 on you for trespassing on land you actually own and try to take you down with a law they just made up that morning? Yeah, that happened to me. And you know what? In the end, the only thing that really disappeared was the smug grin on Karen's face when the cops finally got the whole story. Let me back up a sec because you got to hear this from the top to believe how wild it got. The sun hadn't even crawled all the way up over Blackwood Ridge, and I was down at the edge of my lake, camera in hand, just hoping to catch some of that early morning mist rising off the water. My golden retriever Scout was nose deep in some turtle shell by the reeds, doing his usual thing, ears flopping, tail wagging, king of the sunrise. And then, just like a record scratch, I hear this voice, high-pitched, shrill, makes your teeth hurt just listening to it, coming closer real fast. I look up and there's Karen, the Harmony Hills HOA president, crashing through my willows, face blotchy and red, phone pointed right at me like I'm a suspect on a cop show. She starts shrieking about bylaw violations, shoreline serenity mandates, camping too close to the water, and get this, dangerous animals, meaning Scout, who would sooner lick a burglar than bite him. The way she was ranting, you'd think I was running an illegal toxic waste dump out of my tent. I tried to keep calm, talking to her the way you might talk to a startled horse. But she was already dialing 911, jabbering about vagrants and aggressive dogs and God knows what else. Scout, poor guy, sat there patiently, tail thumping, just hoping someone would throw a stick. I told her as calmly as I could, Karen, this is my land. I've got the deed survey, tax receipts, you name it. She wasn't having it. Kept hollering about forged documents, community standards, all while waving her phone around for evidence. It didn't take long for the sirens to show up. Two deputies rolled in, one old-timer with a mustache, the other a jittery kid. Karen ran to meet them, painting herself as the guardian of the common good and me as some wild-eyed squatter with a killer dog. The older cop took it all in with that 1,000-yard stare cops get after too many years on the job. I calmly explained my side, showed them my papers, deed survey, everything. The deputy looked it over, then at me, then at Karen, then back at the land. After what felt like a week, he handed my stuff back, looked at Karen and said, "Ma'am, you're the one trespassing." Her jaw about hit the ground. She tried to rally bylaws, mandates, but the cop cut her off. Your responsibility ends where his property line begins. And right then I thought it was over. But people like Karen, they don't just give up. As she stomped off, she hissed at me. "This isn't over, Ryland." Scout pressed up against me, sensing the storm wasn't done. That day, the peace I'd worked years for was gone, replaced by a cold, crawling unease. Karen had tried to have Scout taken from me, tried to get me arrested on my own dirt. That's the kind of threat that gets under your skin. I called my best friend Dave that night, told him the short version. He just sighed and said, "I told you that HOA was trouble. Watch your back, man. Some people get real ugly when their power slips." He wasn't wrong. I started setting up trail cams, my old habit of prepping for trouble coming in handy. 4 cameras hidden where Karen or her boys might try to sneak around. I wanted eyes on every path, every corner, especially near where Scout liked to drink in the morning. I slept light that night, every creak and groan of the old house setting me on edge. Next morning before dawn, I went to check the footage. Wasn't expecting much, maybe a raccoon, maybe a deer, but what I got made my blood run cold. There on grainy night vision was Karen and her 2 sons sneaking around my lake, slashing at where my tent had been, scattering something shiny all along Scout's favorite spot by the water. Zoomed in, I could see it, barbed fishing hooks stuck in the mud and hanging from low branches. A trap meant for Scout. They were laughing about it too. On the audio, you could hear them, Karen's voice dripping with hate, her sons egging each other on, plotting to teach that hermit a lesson and make sure that Mutt never comes back. I swear for a minute I saw red. This wasn't about bylaws or noise ordinances. This was about hurting my dog, plain and simple. I copied the footage, one set for the cops, one for Dave, kept the originals in my pocket. Then I grabbed my walking stick, leashed up Scout, and headed out to clean up their mess before he got hurt. Only as we got down to the water, I saw them, Karen and her boys, standing there looking proud of themselves. I confronted them, told them I had it all on camera. Karen tried to lie, but her sons weren't as slick. One of them lunged for my phone, knocked it from my hand, shattered the screen. The other swung a canoe paddle at me, caught my arm, felt like fire racing up my bones. Scout, trying to protect me, stepped right onto a hidden hook, let out a yelp that cut right through me. In that moment, everything narrowed down to one thing: getting Scout to safety. I scooped him up, blood from his paw staining my shirt, and backed away as the sons closed in, Karen screaming for them not to let me go. I jammed my stick into the gut of the nearest one, bought a split second, then ran for the truck, adrenaline drowning out the pain in my arm and the terror clawing at my mind. Scout in the passenger seat, me at the wheel, we tore out of there, the three of them chasing, but not catching us. I got Scout to the vet. 3 deep cuts, needed stitches, the works. Then I limped to the ER myself. Fractured arm, battered shoulder, more painkillers than I care to admit, but the SD cards were still safe in my pocket. The sheriff's office took my statement. Sergeant Miller, the same deputy from before, listened close as I played him. The footage told him everything from start to finish. He didn't say much, just gathered up the evidence, promised to move fast. Next morning, my phone rang at sunrise. Miller sounding energized for the first time since I'd met him. They'd raided Karen's place at dawn, found the paddle with my blood, found a whole stash of those same fishing hooks in her son's room. But the kicker: they found Karen's little HOA office, a whole stack of pre-signed violation notices, all kinds of official forms for made-up infractions, and buried in her files bank records showing thousands skimmed off the top, paid out to companies that didn't exist. The so-called Shoreline Serenity Mandate was just her latest tool to scare, threaten, and steal from anyone she didn't like. Turns out my run-in was just the tip of the iceberg. After the arrests, other neighbors started talking cash fines for wrong-colored mailboxes, special assessments for repairs that never happened, threats over the dumbest things. We got together at the clubhouse, 20 people, all with their own horror stories, some with actual receipts. Even Charlie, the old-timer from across the ridge, showed up, told everyone how Karen tried to cite him for rooster noise and threatened to call animal control. "Lady's more twisted than a pretzel at a county fair," he said, getting a laugh out of the room. With everyone's testimony and my footage, the case against Karen and her sons got airtight. She tried to claim I was the aggressor in court, but the jury watched the video of her boys planting hooks, swinging paddles, attacking me, and Scout. Nobody bought a word of her defense. The verdict: guilty on all counts: assault, animal cruelty, fraud, grand larceny. Karen went to prison, her sons too, though not as long. The whole neighborhood felt the weight lift. The new HOA board made it their first business to apologize to me, pay Scout's vet bills, and cover my medical costs. You know, the question I kept asking myself through all this was, how far will a man go to defend his own? I went pretty damn far. I fought back when it counted, stood up for my dog, my land, and as it turns out, for a whole bunch of folks, too scared or tired to fight before. Now with Karen gone, the lake's peaceful again. Scout back at my side, tail wagging, like nothing happened. Me finally able to take a breath and just watch the sun rise over the water. But I gotta wonder how many more Karens are out there hiding behind fake rules and bad intentions, waiting for someone to push back. So let me throw it to you. What would you have done in my shoes? Where's the line between defending what's yours and fighting for what's right? Drop a comment below. Let's hear what you think about justice, community, and standing up to bullies.